Hello there, everyone. Welcome to Brew Jackets. It's a fun Blue Jackets themed podcast. My name is Kevin, and joining me tonight is my co-host Hefty Duck. And like we always do, we always invite people to come on the show. Whether if they do or don't, that's a different story. There's always next time. But anyways, we got some stuff to talk about in the Blue Jackets world. Training camp and preseason has come and gone, and we'll talk a little bit about that. The Blue Jackets have released their official roster for this upcoming season. We're going to talk about that. We're going to do a little season preview show, just sharing our thoughts on previewing the season and some questions we have and how we think the season is going to go. We also have some hockey jersey concepts like we always do, and so much more. A lot of stuff to talk about. So let's get going here, everyone.
Quite a lot to talk about. I'm just finishing up making a couple of social media posts for ourselves. And speaking of social media, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow wherever you're watching from. If you're watching from YouTube or from Twitter, X. Check us out on Facebook. We are on Facebook. We're trying to get a couple more followers, and we can stream there again too. We had to reset our page because we didn't have access to it. So check it out, and definitely check out our YouTube channel, which we're trying to gear ourselves that way a little bit more here in the last few weeks. But in any case, thanks for everyone for checking us out. Listen to us. If you would like to listen to us instead of watch our beautiful faces live, you can check us out on Spotify, Apple, Google, anywhere you can find a podcast. We are probably there, and we're definitely in some spots that I don't know of. But yeah, we appreciate it. We don't have any sponsors. We don't do any ads. The best thing, if you guys want to help us out at all, is just to like, subscribe, share. Do that. It helps support us. So,
But first, as I always been doing, got to put it up on this. I'm going to put it up on the screen here. Here we go. So, don't forget to join Union Blue Soldiers for their annual March of the Union Army on Monday, October 13th, 2025, starting at our bar, 6 o'clock p.m. This is the event you want to go to before the Blue Jackets home opener. The best of the best. Union Blue Soldiers does an outstanding job bringing people together for a march to cheer on the Blue Jackets. Usually they've been doing it since 2014. Great time. They usually get about like 50 to 100 people to show up. It's an awesome event before the Blue Jackets home opener. It's the event you want to go to before the Blue Jackets home opener. And we'll be passing
we'll both be there.
Hope to see you there. Going to be passing out some buttons. You're going to have to check that out. Going to pass out some buttons. And, got a flyer. We got a lot of stuff. So,
a lot of
stuff. So, check out Union Blue Soldiers March of the Union Army on Monday, October 13th, 2025. Our bar, 6 o'clock p.m. Join Union Blue Soldiers and your fellow Blue Jackets fans as they march on to Nationwide Arena to cheer on the Blue Jackets.
Hell yeah. I will also be there myself, and we'll have I don't have them to show you at the moment, but we will have some Brew Jackets buttons as well. We'll do the most popular one from last year, which is, I believe, the current logo we have with the beer mug with the Kepi hat on it.
That's right.
And maybe we'll do another surprise or two. So many of you might remember, I don't think I was able to do it last year as much because I actually went to the first game as media and was up in the media booth, and was up in my nice suit and tie and all that shit. So I wasn't able to do what I did the year before. But this year, I like going as a fan so much better. Yeah, you can't cheer when you're up in the booth. Like we're more of a fan podcast. We're not necessarily
Yeah.
a hardcore journalist. So it's nice to just to go as a fan. So I'm gonna do that. But anyway, I gotta tell y'all a little bit about my time in Columbus yesterday. So I went down to the Columbus area. First, I went over to Tangier Outlets, and that was a really nice place. If you've never been, definitely go there. You can find some amazing deals, and it's probably one of the nicest outlet malls I've been to as well. Like when you're looking around, you don't feel like the typical kind of outlet mall that I don't know. I used to go like school shopping at back in the day. I'm old. Um, but everything's real nice. Everything's real new. You don't really see many things that are like bad quality or anything. But I did get to stop at Rally House, and I have a couple critiques of it, of course, as we always do. Um, I'll go over this critique a bit, and then I want to show everyone what I got. I got something fun. So obviously it's in Columbus area, so there's Ohio State is the theme everywhere. I get it. When you walk in, the entire like left half of the front of the store is the entire left side is all Ohio State stuff. Fantastic. I'm totally down with it. I'm here for it. On the right, they had Crew, they had the Blue Jackets, then they had Steelers stuff, and then they had like Bengal stuff. They also had some Brown stuff there. And then the way back, totally separate room, they had Reds and Guardian stuff and a little bit of Clippers stuff. There might have been a couple other teams thrown in here and there. I don't know if they had any Fury or whatnot, but I didn't really see anything. So, there is representation across the whole state, even for the Schittsburg Squealers. Sorry if that offends you out there. I don't care. But we representation across the board. The single one thing that I was like, oh, I hadn't been to like a state that had or a store that has a bunch of Ohio State stuff like that in a long time. Not like Rally House. So immediately I was going and looking for a Ohio State hockey jersey.
Mhm.
And the only one like they had the men's home and away, and then the men's third. I believe it's the men's third with the Buckeyes, the Buckeye lettering across the chest there, and really cool. I almost got that one just because I loved it, but I really really wanted that black.
I'm putting it up on the screen.
Yeah, the women's hockey jersey. It's one of my all-time favorites, and I think those are hard to keep in stock. So I got to yawn real quick. Because I think they're on stock online right now too, but I was kind of hoping to find a deal or whatever. But yeah. So let me go over this, and I'll show you one other new thing I got while I was down in the Columbus area yesterday. So, we're gonna have several cards to pass out, hockey cards. Well, that's what I was getting at. I don't even know if I mentioned that 2 seasons ago. I passed out hockey cards in front of the building. While like right after the march, I was just inside the building. I was just literally handing them out. I think some people were like, "No, I'm good," thinking maybe I was like selling them or some shit. But no, I literally just take it. I know I'm giving it out. I think someone on Twitter tagged me like, "Hey, I think my son got one of your cards." I'm like, hell yeah. So those were all just random cards that I own. Those were just from my personal collection of cards that like didn't necessarily mean a lot to me. But since I was at Rally House and had the opportunity, they're selling these favorite team packs. Right on the very front, Zach Werenski. And then this one appears to be a slightly different. There might be some doubles in here. Here's another favorite team pack. And so there's 20 cards in each of these. So I'm going to have 40 cards to pass out that day. And just to give you a little preview, of what's kind of in here, because I don't know yet either. We're just cracking open the case right now. So we got Zach Werenski, Artemi Panarin. So it's not going to always be current Blue Jackets players. We got a Wenberg. Still paying him. I think this year was the last year we're paying him. Here is a Nick Foligno card. I mean, I don't know. I might keep this one. We got a Sergei Bobrovsky. So yeah, these are all like a lot of these are a little bit more like the older ones. That look how young. I don't know if you can see this to a camera or not, but look how young Cam Atkinson looks in that photo.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to get it to focus. There we go. Very young, very young. And also still on the team. We got Seth Jones, Boone Jenner, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Elvis Merzlikins. This is a nice card. I like this one. It's got the sorry, my light's giving me a lot of reflection here. Grant Clitsome.
Oh God, that's old.
Yeah.
That's old.
That's
old.
Here's an old O-Pee-Chee of Adam Foote. We got a Max Domi card. I got Rostislav. I don't know if I'm saying that entirely right. Fedor Tyutin, Sergey Fedorov, Michael Delzato. I forgot about Delzato completely.
Yeah.
That's a cool one. Josh Anderson, Rick Nash. Of course, there's a Rick Nash card in there. If you come up to me and say Brew Jackets rule, I'll give you the Rick Nash one right away. And we have Matt Calvert. So there's a whole another 20 that I'm not going to open up here on stream. This will be kind of a little bit of a surprise, but we'll have some really fun cards to give out. Like I said, I got 40 of them, and I'm not going to have any by the end of the night guaranteed. I know I won't, because the last time I was there, I think I passed out somewhere around 60 to 80 cards. And at the very end of the night, I think I just gave the rest of my stack to some kid. I was like, here, start a collection. Here's a... you don't ever have to worry about your kids getting on drugs if they start collecting hockey cards. Not going to have enough money for that anyway. It's just about as addicting and cost quite about as much money anyway. But that was really fun. So one more thing from my Columbus trip yesterday. I got this really cool hat. I did get this from Lids. They had cool hats at Rally House, but they didn't have exactly what I wanted. This one is a Mitchell & Ness snapback. On the front, we got the black and white CBJ logo, the modern logo they have right now. I'm a big black and white logo fan.
That's true.
I like my Cleveland hats that way too. Just how it be. Obviously, black and white here. So it's got this cool logo on front, and then on the side here, it's got the Canon logo in black and white too. I'll zoom this in for the camera because this is really cool. I like this logo, this patch a lot.
Yep.
No colors, just black and white. That's my jam. If you check out my tattoo stuff on Instagram and stuff, you'll see that a lot of my stuff is like just mostly black work, black and gray, black and white, whatever you want to call it. But love it. Got a new hat. I'm going to be wearing this next, literally a week from today at the March. You can find me. I have my hat on. I'll have some cards. I'll have some cool shit to hand out, pass out.
Yeah.
And I think, I got some more stuff from the outlet mall. I don't know if I have to share, I guess, too much, but I got some stickers. These are going to go on my toolbox at work. I already have one on my truck, or I'd put another one. But I think too many is a little bit too many, or more than one's a little bit too many, whatever. But anyway, I had a great time in Columbus. Great time area. After that, I went to Alum Creek State Park. Beautiful place out there. Beautiful lake. That's also that's pretty close to Columbus there. It also has a disc golf course, and boy, that was a nice one. That was a fun one. It was very hard. If you two like disc golf, check out the Olentangy Disc Golf Club on Facebook and give them a follow. They're awesome. There's some amazing spots down there. Between Lobdell Reserve and Blendon Woods. There's a bunch of little parks around Columbus area everywhere. So I'll hit them all up here one of these days.
All right. So,
here's the one I wanted.
Okay, so for reference, and we talked about this on the show last week because it's that good of a jersey. Let's get rid of this pop-up. Get rid of that. So this is the jersey. That does not help. I didn't know. Okay. But this is the jersey that Hefty Duck wanted, and it is an outstanding jersey. It is the best of the best. This is easily the best Ohio State hockey jersey there is out there. Ohio State women's hockey team wore that at their outdoor game at Wrigley Field this past season, back in January, and it was awesome. just awesome. And I too would get this hockey jersey. So, this is the jersey Hefty Duck wanted. And I agree. I too would get that jersey. And if places in and around the Columbus area sold this jersey, I would be buying that. And it would sell out well because I know this for a fact, because when Ohio State hockey, women's hockey, would post about, oh, you can buy stuff from the Ohio State store. And like you read all the comments, like, okay, and be pictures of like a sweatshirt or a hat or whatnot, or a shirt or whatnot. And you read the comments, and I'm paraphrasing it, but it's basically like people like, okay, yeah, cool, but what about the jersey? Like, do you have the jersey? Like, it to them, it's like, yeah, okay, it's okay. You got a hat, you got a sweatshirt, you got a shirt, fine, but the jersey. Tell us about the jersey, which I understand because I would be the same way. It's just that good of a jersey, and I would get it.
It is really cool. I would really like one of these days.
Yeah, but anyways, on to the next part of our show. We're going to start off with some more, silly stuff, some more, fun stuff before we get into the more, serious part of the show, the season preview. You got to build it up here. You can't give away the good stuff right away. You got to get people to work for it. So that means you got to watch the show a little bit if you want the good stuff. But anyways, on to the next thing, which is this. So the Blue Jackets every year, they do a Hockey is Back marketing campaign, and it's good. This year is good, and I like it. And I'm going to put it up on the screen. The Blue Jackets did a little video they posted on social media recently for their Hockey is Back campaign. So we're going to put this up on the screen, and we're going to play it. So here we go. So we'll let the video play, and then we'll talk about it.
Who was it he did that to?
It's just some dude.
Oh, okay. Probably just someone who works there, I'm assuming.
But can you imagine this? Like, you are out and about in Columbus, you're walking around, and then out of nowhere you get ambushed by Stinger, and like he's throwing like a confetti thingy majigger at you, and then he just shoves tickets in your face, and you're like, wait, what? Like, what's this?
That's awesome. It's for opening week, so I don't think it necessarily means opening night, but it could be. That's pretty cool. I literally just like 5 minutes before the show, I ordered my ticket for opening night. So I know I'll be up in the upper section there. I got some pretty nice, really nice seat for this year. We've talked about it before. We have some favorite spots to kind of sit in the arena, but like I've sat the whole way, like many places around there just for shits and gigs. And I'll tell you what my favorite spots are. So there is 2 seats up in like section. Hold on, let me figure this one out because I took a picture of it and I posted it like 2 years ago, and it actually took off because there's 2 seats like separated between like a steel column or something like that. And I think I quoted something like, "What if we sat at section 213 row H, seats 25, 26 or some shit like that." I don't know that that's exactly the seats, or the section, but there's some really interesting seats in that whole arena. There's some that are very high. If you're over by the party tower thing, those are some really interesting seats. They're very high up, and there's like no one. We saw in the end there's like no one to our left, and those are pretty cool. I've sat in the lower bowl. I've sat several spots around the lower bowl. I've sat on the end. I sat on the side. I really liked sitting on the end. I went with Owen one time, friend of the show, and there were tickets like on the end of it. But my all-time favorite spot, no matter where it is in the entire arena, I have learned throughout the years, I like the end seat. I know that in photos it might not look like it. I'm not that large of a person, but I am a grown adult, and those seats are rough. Especially if there's bigger guys on either side of you, because like I said, I'm not the world's largest person, but like I got wide shoulders. You're really right up against them so hard. So my favorite spot on the end, and you might think, oh well, that's annoying because you're gonna have to let everyone in and out, in and out. Not a big deal, because well, one, I had the most leg room. Unless you're gonna sit in the club or in the media booth, your leg room is a hot commodity at hockey arenas because of how they have to be set up. And Nationwide is no exception. Now, I will say I have not sat in a bad seat in the whole house. Everywhere I've sat has been a great view. Also, just to clarify once again, we're not associated with like the Blue Jackets themselves. No one has ever asked us to say anything like this or whatever. I'm a rabid fan. And so anyway, this is my advice to anyone out there looking for seats. Check out the end seats. It gives you, because then if someone larger than you, or just a grown adult is on your right side, then you can kind of lean off to the left side if the aisle's over here. Also, you're first to the bathrooms, and yeah, you don't have to like wait for people to stand up or whatever. And I found a single ticket too. That's not very common to find one ticket instead of like there's usually in pairs or some shit. But anyway, I'm excited. If you can't tell, I have been rambling for a little minute now. Kevin, what are some of your favorite spots? Because we're gonna be sitting in the same section there. I haven't set our section quite yet because I don't necessarily want to tell people. It's not a big deal. If you see us, say hi. But
so I've sat in just about all over the place there. Upper deck, lower deck. One time I had like one of those party deck suite areas that I sat in one time, only because my dad won tickets at a game watch party at our bar. Otherwise, there was no way that we would have done those seats.
Yeah.
So shout out to our bar for that. There really isn't a bad seat in the house. It's just so built perfectly there. The Blue Jackets did an awesome job building up Nationwide Arena to what it is today. You really can't find a bad seat there, because I've sat in the lower deck with some pretty good seats, and I've sat in the upper deck with some pretty good seats, and you really can't go really wrong there. You just can't. Though I'll say this though, if I had my preference, if I had to pick a seat, my preference would probably be upper deck. Let's say center ice, maybe about 4 or 5 rows up, because you see everything. It just sees everything. It's just perfect. Like, I'm of the belief that it's better to sit up higher when you're watching hockey.
Oh, for sure.
And I've had this past season, I went to 2 Blue Jacket. I went to 6 at Nationwide Arena, plus the outdoor game at Ohio State. But 2 of the 6 that I went to was in the center ice area, and it was about like 4 or 5 rows up, and it was perfect. You literally could see everything. It was just awesome. So honestly, there really isn't a bad seat in the house, but if I had to pick, I'd probably say somewhere in the center ice area, upper deck, about 4 or 5 rows up, give or take. That's what I would say. But the reason why I picked this video to play on the show, because I think it's funny and it's mascot shenanigans, and I just laughed at it, because like I said earlier, it's like, you you're just some guy and you're out and about walking around Columbus, and there, boom, here comes Stinger out of nowhere, just ambushing you with like the sparkly things, and then just like shoves tickets in your face, and you're like, wait, what? Like, what's going on here? And it's like, oh, tickets to a Blue Jacket team. Okay, thanks, Stinger. Even though you ambushed me there with the little confetti, and then throwing the little confetti container at me, and then shoving tickets in the dude's face, but still funny.
Shit. That's pretty good.
Anyways, so there's that. We will have more mascot shenanigans later on in the show. But first, I do want to get to this because this will be our last thing before we get into the season preview. There are two contracts that have been going around in the hockey world that absolutely could affect what could happen with Adam Fantilli. And that is Connor McDavid recently got a new 2-year deal just worth over $12 million. And I'm going to put this one up on the screen, which is this. Kirill Kaprizov got an 8-year, $17 million deal with Minnesota. Now, he is absolutely their best player, and he's one of the best players in the NHL. So he absolutely deserves this contract. But even then, that's a little high. That's kind of a bit much. But I get it. You have to do it. That's just how it's going to be. And when you look at contracts like Connor McDavid and what Kirill Kaprizov got, now it's kind of setting the tone of like, okay, what could Adam Fantilli get? Because the old way of doing contracts is slowly going away. It used to be where you get a deal and you do good, and then you get like a bridge deal for like, let's say it's like 3 years, maybe like 2-3 million. And if you do good there, then you get the big contract. But it's in more recent years, it's becoming more and more common that you do the big contract like right away, get your guys locked up and with more money. It is a risk that could backfire, but at the same time, a year or two down the road, it could absolutely benefit you because you'd be like, you give this guy like a, 8-year, $10 million contract. You're like, oh, that's a bargain. He should be getting 11 million or 12 million or whatnot. And it's the same thing with what's happened with Kaprizov up in Minnesota, is that right now that looks kind of high, a little expensive, maybe a bit much, but 1 or 2 years down the road, that could be like, oh God, that's a bargain. He should be getting 18 million or 19 million. And when I saw that, I'm thinking, okay, what's going to happen with Adam Fantilli now? Because there was that talk of, maybe they do a contract sometime this off season. But in the end, Don Waddell met with Adam Fantilli and his agent, and they said they don't want to do it yet, which is fine. I get that. But now when I see this contract, it kind of makes me wonder, okay, what's the contract going to be? Because if like Connor McDavid is getting 12.5 and he's getting 17, what's Adam Fantilli's contract going to be? I'm not even saying that it's going to be 12.5, or I'm not even saying that he's getting 17 million like Kirill Kaprizov. But I suspect that Adam Fantilli is going to continue the way he played, which is really good. And I wouldn't be surprised if he got a contract that's at least 9-10 million. And they're probably going to look at what Kirill Kaprizov got and Connor McDavid and a bunch of other people that recently got big time contracts and be like, okay, this is a framework for what we want. So I'm just throwing this one out there that pay attention to what kind of contract Adam Fantilli is going to get because of guys of what Kirill Kaprizov and other players are getting. So it's just going to be interesting to see how that goes and what kind of contract Adam Fantilli does get, because guys like Kirill Kaprizov and other players may have set the market for what other guys could potentially get.
Yeah. So just looking at a little bit closer at Kaprizov's current and past contract. So at the age of 24, so he's 28 currently. He'll be 29 by the end of the season. So at the age of 24, he signed a 5-year, $9 million per year annual average value or whatever it is. And that was a big contract. It's a huge contract. But like I said, he was 24. So before that, let's see, he was making that $925K for the Wild. And before that, he entered the league at 23, right? I believe.
2020, 2021 season he entered.
Yep. So he was 23. So I'm assuming he came over from the KHL.
Yep.
Something like that. Same with so he was a little bit older, so he had that going for him, whereas Fantilli is a little bit younger. But the Fantilli, being a generational type of talent player, probably want to get that signed a little bit sooner. Than maybe with Kaprizov, because let's be honest, this team, although we're very hopeful for this year, and last year was a great step in the right direction. It's the past few years have not been good. There's been no playoff berths. There's been like no competitive, like, oh, will they get in? Will they? Won't they? Last year there was. So that is a huge step in the right direction. But it's not like, it's not like the Panthers signing someone. Someone might take a more team-friendly deal just to be on that team because they have a greater chance of winning a Stanley Cup. So anyway, and now this is not Blue Jackets related, but in my opinion, I feel like 17 million AAV for the next 6 years is so much money. He is the highest paid player in hockey right now.
By starting next season, he will be.
Starting next season. Yeah, you're right. That's just that's insane to me. Because McDavid, I mean, just today, he extended his 2 by $12.5 million a year with the Oilers. That's Connor McDavid. Come on, that's $5 million less the next 2 years. But maybe McDavid truly believes that with Draisaitl there and the chemistry they all have, maybe they could really go for another chance. Why? I mean, they made it super far. They had a really good opportunity. So he's maybe going to take a little bit less. That's probably why he took a shorter contract too. If we can, I bet McDavid. Anyway, sorry, I was just looking over at Puckpedia, so I saw that McDavid 6 hours ago signed that. So just wanted to compare those a little bit. And so when we're looking at Adam Fantilli, we kind of talked a little bit last week about Marchenko and his deal that he signed. He signed a little bit shorter contract at a little bit older age, because I think the Blue Jackets weren't quite sure how he was going to pan out like long term. Oh, sorry, I had a yawn there. I mean, like the 3 highest paid players in the Blue Jackets are all defensemen. And then, I mean, I'd say no. It's actually, holy cow! So 5 defensemen have some of the highest. So anyway, there's nobody over $9.58 million right now. That's Zach Werenski, followed by Ivan Provorov, 8.5, David Severson, 6.2, and then Favreau and Gudbranson are both making $4 million. That's nothing to sneeze at, especially when they're locked down for the next. Severson's there for a long time. Well, Gudbranson's, this is his last year on his contract, but anyway, the Blue Jackets do have a lot of cap space still. Currently, they're projected to have a $14.2 million cap space, and that's already including Adam Fantilli's current $950 whatever $1,000 he's making probably right now. So if they threw 10 million at him, they still have plenty of breathing room to negotiate other people's contracts. Because we're going to have in the next 2 years, we're going to have Marchenko, we're going to have Dmitry Voronkov, he's going to have Boone Jenner after this year. What's going to happen there? Boone Jenner's a UFA after this season. He's a fantastic player, phenomenal. And we've seen Waddell liking that kind of older, more experienced guys as opposed to just these young guns, which granted he did a great job at getting our prospect pool up, but these young guns I'm blanking so hard right here. This is ridiculous. Yeah, it's not just young guns anymore. Don Waddell's taking it a little bit new direction with the older guys. So maybe we'll see a contract extension. Maybe we'll see a new captain. I don't want there to be a new captain. I love Boone Jenner. I didn't want there to be a new captain when Nick Foligno left, but I was very satisfied with who they picked to be the captain.
Yeah.
And Boone Jenner, I think, bringing the team through those rough couple of years. I mean, I think that he deserves to be there when they're doing a little bit better too.
See, and another reason why I bring up this whole Kirill Kaprizov situation is that you perfectly said his contract situation is that he started out with a dirt cheap contract, and then the Wild just threw a crap ton of money at him. Going from dirt cheap contract under $1 million to just a big jump to $9 million. And then obviously this contract that he's getting, that's $17 million. But like when I hear the dirt cheap contract just under $1 million and then it jumps to $9 million, that made me think of what could happen with Adam Fantilli, where he has a dirt cheap contract and then it jumps a lot and they just throw the book at him, metaphorically speaking, and just throw a lot of money at him with a big contract.
It's insane. That's
so like
huge contract. Do you think that the Wild might shoot themselves in the foot with this one a little bit?
There is
the cap going up is going to make that big of a difference, or not make a difference?
Look, it is a risk throwing that amount of money at it. You do have to be careful with that. That is a possibility, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to be as big of an issue because the cap is going up. And look, every team has that guy that it's like you look at it and it's like, oh God, that's expensive. I don't want to do it, but you have to. Like the Blue Jackets have those guys. I would say Zach Werenski, Kirill Marchenko, Adam Fantilli are just some of those guys that, like, yes, they're going to be very expensive when the time comes to give them a new contract. It's going to be expensive. You're not going to like it, but you're just going to have to suck it up and accept it for what it is and do it. That's Kirill Kaprizov for the Wild. It's like he is their best player. He is the best of the best, and they may have looked at that and said, ooh, that's expensive, and they may not have liked doing that, but again, it's like, well, that's just how it is. You're just going to have to suck it up and do it, and just accept it for what it is, and just give him the contract, and you just hope that it doesn't backfire on you, because that is a lot of money, but he is worth it because he is really good and he's their best player. And I'm not saying that Adam Fantilli gets that kind of a contract, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Blue Jackets are in a similar situation like that with Adam Fantilli, where it's like, yep, it's expensive. Do we like it? No, but we just got to accept it for what it is and just throw him the big money contract, just like what Minnesota's had to do with Kirill Kaprizov.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, the Blue Jackets have a pretty pretty good breathing room right now. The Minnesota Wild are narrowing it down, but if we look at the Wild and what they're doing, they're in a very similar boat to how the Blue Jackets are. They're on, they got a new coach not too long ago. Obviously Dean Evason was there, so But I don't mean that in the familiarity of Dean Evison. What I
They have,
mean is like their contracts. Kaprizov is their generational talent.
yeah.
They have some good guys to back him up. Matt Boldy, Joel Eriksson Ek. I mean, Eriksson Ek's phenomenal player.
Brock Faber,
Marcus Foligno, Mark Rossi. Brock Faber, Jared Spurgeon. Jonas Broden's out right now, but anyway, so like those guys all have big contracts, and a lot of them have a little bit bigger contracts than the guys on the Blue Jackets have. I think that being very real and honest about it, I do believe. I mean, many of us saw the evaluations of all the NHL teams this last week, and the Blue Jackets were now this is ridiculous. They were valued as like the lowest valued team overall. That's still over $1 billion. There's not a single team in the NHL not worth over $1 billion. They have 1.3 billion right now. 1.3 billion dollars for a team.
Damn.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily telling the whole side of the story, because it's like, just because they're worth that does not mean that they have that. It could be more, it could be less, but also something to consider here, which is they're not telling you the whole story about the Blue Jackets, is that the McConnell family, who own the Blue Jackets, are also getting money from Nationwide Insurance because they bought a 30% stake in the Blue Jackets. So they're getting money from that. The McConnell family also have Worthington Industries and like other businesses that they own. So they're also getting money from that. So
yeah,
as much as I love the Blue Jackets, and I love them very much, they are worth a lot of money. But I do not think that just the Blue Jackets by themselves are worth over $1 billion. They're not worth that much money. They're worth a lot of money, but not that much. And I just wonder if the people who are doing this just looked into it. Oh, they're worth this and this and that, without actually looking in behind the scenes look of what's actually going on and saying, okay, this is why. Because yes, the McConnell family own the Blue Jackets, and they do make money off of that. Lots of money. But that's not the only reason why they make money. And it's probably the reason why the Blue Jackets are worth that billion plus, because they also have other businesses that they make money from, as well as getting 30% from Nationwide Insurance. That probably helps bump it up as well. So there's a little more to that whole $1 billion thing that people are probably willing to say. Just, got to throw that out there. That there's that probably just by themselves, the Blue Jackets are not worth $1 billion. But if you include all the money that the McConnell family are getting from all the businesses that they own, including the Blue Jackets and other businesses and Nationwide Insurance, yeah, that's probably why.
Yep. And obviously, Nationwide is a crazy huge corporation as an entity by themselves. But like the term, we joke about it. Many people joke about it. The term poverty franchise is no more.
Yeah.
Like in almost in any sport, the investment opportunity of a sports team has grown exponentially these last few years, and it's only going to keep growing as the values keep going up, because that's what's been happening forever and always. And anyway, so like besides even like the lower valuation for the team, that doesn't include like the roster. That doesn't include it's like the Blue Jackets contracts are this much because they're under like 80 million or something like that total.
Right.
But 95.5 is the limit, and they're under the limit by quite a bit. So I'm excited. I hope that they sign him sooner than later. I would love to hear that news, but I think that might be news maybe more around trade deadline or even end of the year. I believe I saw an article saying something about how Waddell is in no hurry.
No.
I don't think there is much of a hurry there. At the same time, because like if you sign him now, he's locked in, and he has something. He's like, oh, I got to play good now because I'm going to be here for the next couple of years. Or oftentimes we see a player right after they sign a huge contract, a huge big contract. You see him drop off that first year a little bit.
Yep.
Because maybe they're trying really, really, really hard for that good contract like the year before, and they're still trying hard. They're still doing great, but maybe subconsciously, like, I don't have to try as hard.
Yes.
I could be just like kind of making that up. Like, well, I feel like I've seen that quite a bit, just that first year after, and usually they come back. But I really feel with Fantilli, we could see possibly a double-digit forward again.
Oh,
There's no one on the team that has double digits as their salary. Not a single person. The highest is Zach Werenski with like 9 point whatever mil. The last forward to make that kind of money for the Blue Jackets, I believe, was Johnny Gaudreau, Patrick Laine,
yeah,
and Artemi Panarin.
Yeah.
We're all kind of making that kind of money.
Yeah.
And I can't really mad. Now I know that Fantilli and Laine were close friends. And I'm not trying to like. You know what? I'm not even gonna say it. I'm just gonna let it go. You know what, Patrick Laine? I don't mind you. You're fine.
All right. So, all right, on to the big part of our show. We'll be doing our season preview show, some questions, what we have, and how we think things are going to go. So, our first part, we're going to start off with this: is that this past season there were a lot of good, some bad, and everything in between. We're going to start off. What do the Blue Jackets need to improve on? First things first, just their defense in general. Now, to be clear, the defense this past season was way better compared to what it used to be. Because for some time, the defense was just god-awful, and 9 times out of 10 was the reason why the Blue Jackets lost the game, and it really didn't really give the Blue Jackets a chance to win a lot of times. Now, this season, it was way better. It definitely improved, and the Blue Jackets definitely had a better chance because of that. Their offense was also really good, which is also a big reason why they won so many games. So, yes, the defense did get better. But, having said that, it still needs to get better because you were ranked 25 out of 32 in regards of goals against. That needs to be better. You just can't keep doing that again. You need to be better on defense. You need to be better to help keep the puck out of the net. Because the reality is why the Blue Jackets missed the playoffs is that, throughout the season, they had a game or two where it just wasn't defensively, it wasn't their night. And sometimes they lost the game because of that. Sometimes they were able to get away with that and still find a way to win the game, which is good because you're gonna have to do that. Sometimes it's not your night defensively, and you still have to find a way to win the game. But that's something you can't count on all the time. You need to be better defensively. This is a must. The game that stands, they won this game, but it was a lot harder than it had to be, is the game against Vancouver where they won 7-6 in the shootout. Is that for a good chunk of that game, the Blue Jackets played awful, just terrible defensively. They gave up, they were down 3-0, and then the Blue Jackets scored 3 goals to tie it. And then you have all the momentum in the world. You're feeling good about yourself. And then you give up 2 quick goals, and now you're down 5-3. Just awful defense. And then late in the game, the Blue Jackets tie it at 5. Big hype. Big excitement. And then bad defense, you give up. No. And then they tie it up at 5, and then the Blue Jackets take the lead at 6-5. Late in the game, a little over 2 minutes to go, and bad defense. Awful. And Vancouver scores to tie it 6-6. Now, eventually, you go on to win it in the shootout, which is good. You found a way to win that game. However, though, because of your awful defense, you made it harder than it had to be. And there are many examples throughout the season where you could pick a game where like that sort of thing happened. You cannot keep doing that. That is bad. So they have to get better on defense. They also have to get better on the penalty kill. You were ranked 22nd out of 32. Now, a little caveat there is that it did get better as the season went along, especially when Jack Johnson was on there. You could really tell a difference. When Jack Johnson was on the penalty kill, it was way better. When he was not on the penalty kill, it suffered. It did get better as the season went along, so that's good. Good progress. But still, you need to be better. 22 out of 32, not good. That's not good enough. That needs to be better. The goaltending needs to be better. That is an issue that the Blue Jackets had this past season. That is a potential issue that they could have this upcoming season. So you look back at what happened. Danil Tarasov, inconsistent. Sometimes he was bad, but sometimes when he was good. But we needed more consistency from him. There were games where they lost because Danil Tarasov was bad. There were games that the Blue Jackets won because Danil Tarasov was really good and he took over the game. It's the same thing with Elvis Merzlikins. There were games that the Blue Jackets, either they lost because Elvis Merzlikins was bad, or they won in spite of Elvis Merzlikins being bad. But then there were games where, again, Elvis Merzlikins was awesome, where he played a real good game and the Blue Jackets win. And Elvis Merzlikins was a big reason why they won that game. It has happened. But again, we need more consistency there. And then you go look to Jet Greaves. Now, it's a small sample size. He didn't play a lot of games with the Blue Jackets this season. He looked good. He did look good. You have to give him credit there. He is a big reason why the Blue Jackets were fighting for a playoff spot until game 81 of game 82. He would play really good. He finished out the season strong, going 6-0. He's a big reason why the Blue Jackets went on that heater and finished out the season strong, 6-0. So he's shown he can do it. However, though, here's the issue. We don't know what he is for a full 82-game season yet. And the book is now out on Jet Greaves. You can go back and you can look at what he's done with the Monsters and what he's done with the Blue Jackets. Teams will now look at and say, okay, what does he suck at? What's his weakness? What's he good at? And then once they figure out how to score goals on you, they're going to try and pick you apart. And it's your responsibility to find a way to counter that. Some guys can't, and they're out of the league like 1, 2, 3 years down the road. And you're wondering, hey, whatever happened to that guy? Oh, yeah, he was good, but whatever happened? And then some guys, they found a way to counter it, and they have a good career. And that's a concern. Say what you want about Elvis Merzlikins, sometimes good, sometimes bad. But you know what? You can rely on him. You know that he can do an 82-game season. If you need someone to start on a consistent basis, he can do that. We're not quite there yet with Jet Greaves, which is why I hesitate a little bit with some of these Blue Jackets fans that I see out on Twitter and other social media websites where they're just so insistent of just giving Jet Greaves the job. I understand he did good, and I can see why you feel that way. I feel that way too, but just giving the guy the job just because he had a couple good games there is not a smart thing to do. He's not there yet. I do believe that if it goes the way I think it does, that Jet Greaves will probably be the guy by the end of the season, but we're not ready there. We're not there yet just to throw him the job yet. That would be stupid, in my opinion, to do that. So there's the question there. So goaltending needs to be better, and we don't exactly know what's going on with Jet Greaves. Can he do the full season? What's he going to do when teams figure out how to shoot on him? Can he counter that? That's another question. Road power play was not good. It was awful. awful. There were games that the Blue Jackets lost because they couldn't score on the power play on the road. It was awful. That needs to be better. That needs to be better, because if that was better, it could help you win a game or two. You're in the playoffs. Another thing the Blue Jackets have to fix is that they cannot have multiple 6-game losing streaks, which they did. It happened twice. Twice last season, the Blue Jackets lost 6 games in a row. Once in November, once in March. You cannot do that. That's unacceptable. That's a big reason why you're not in the playoffs. Another thing the Blue Jackets have to do, they need to improve their overtime record. Now, caveat is they got better as the season went along. But to start, the Blue Jackets went 1-6 in their first 7 games in overtime. That is awful. Awful. You cannot do that. Your overtime record needs to get better. When you have a chance to put it away, you need to put that thing away immediately. Win the game. When you have the chance to do it, win the game. Put it away. And for the first 7 games, 9 times out of 10, the Blue Jackets couldn't get it done. And that's pissing away opportunities to win games that could have helped you get in the playoffs. Another thing is you need to get more wins on the road. The Blue Jackets were not very good on the road this past season. You look at their record, a majority of their wins were at home. And as good as that was really good to get wins on the home and be at home and be really reliable there. You need to get more wins on the road. You need to do that, because if you, again, there's a consistent thing what I'm going here, but if you got 1 or 2 more wins, you're in the playoffs. You need to get better. And then the last thing is the Blue Jackets were 2-10 on the second half of back-to-backs. That is unacceptable. That needs to get fixed. You cannot do that. You need to have a better record on the second half of back-to-backs. Because again, like every one of these things, you win 1 or 2 games, you get into the playoffs. So you need to get better on the second half of back-to-backs. So that's what the Blue Jackets need to get better on. We'll get Hefty Duck in here. He can say some stuff about that. And then we will move on to what the Blue Jackets were good at and what we think they can continue to build on.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you guys have listened to more than one episode of the show or watched more than one episode, you realize that me and Kevin are very much on the same wavelength with a lot of stuff like this because, well, I mean, we do talk about it. We do talk outside the show, and there are things that that's part of why I think that we do so well. We don't always agree on everything. But some really good points here. The penalty kill was at times atrocious, and getting more experience out there. There's a fine line between balancing the experience and balancing the athleticism of a player, because simply put, sorry, I had to clear my throat. Simply put, some players were getting beat on penalty kill. Just flat out beat. Just racing right past them. Now they're turning. Now they're playing with the puck behind them. Now they're doing. It's not good. It's just not. With some of the more experienced guys out there, their positioning can make a huge difference. The positioning of experienced players is part of what makes them so great on a team. Now, the more experience they have, the more older they are. They're still fantastic athletes, but most of the guys who are fastest out on the ice are under the age of 30. And so balancing that athleticism, I think that's only going to get better because there's no super new guys coming up this year so far. I mean, there's going to be some new faces on the team, but where did I put that list? Yeah, there's not really many. I mean, Miles Wood's a new face there, but it's not like he's coming up from minors or whatever. So it's going to basically be a lot of the same team from last year, which is great. That's one thing that the Blue Jackets had been lacking in the last few years, was keeping a solid lineup, so a team can mesh together, keeping a coach, and those are things that I said they needed to work on last year that they have worked on for this year. So it's fantastic. Goaltending is 100% correct too. There's so many unknowns. We don't know how Jet Greaves is going to do yet. We've seen bits and pieces. He looks great. I can't wait to see him. I hope he does amazing. But Elvis Merzlikins is a tried and true goaltender. Love him, hate him. Part of the issue with Merzlikins, part of it is the defense and how that has to get better, like Kevin said earlier. It's obvious that if you're gonna, the Blue Jackets were like one of the top scoring teams in the NHL, but also like it says here, one of the had the most, one of the teams with the most goals against as well.
Yeah.
So there's only so many times you can just outscore somebody.
Yeah.
It's not good enough anymore to outscore them. You need to stop them from scoring as well. It seemed like so often it was like a 1-0 lead, and like all of a sudden in the third period, the other team would get up like 3-1, and then the Blue Jackets would come back sometimes.
Yeah.
So late. It was just so late. It's too late.
Yeah.
Well, and then that's another point that Kevin made. Then just a little bit improving the overtime. Don't even let it get to overtime. There had so many overtime games last year. I don't think they had the most in the league, but like they had more than previous 2 or 3 seasons. Just got to be better with it. Got to win those. Well, you mentioned with the defense, and you mentioned the back-to-back games too. Strength and conditioning has been one of the big things in Columbus for a while. We can look at injuries as maybe like a bit of a barometer for that, and last year was fewer injuries. And I'm assuming that, from what I understand, the practices are from Evason are very hard, and for the most part, no one really had that much of a conditioning problem last year. But there was still some. But those back-to-back days, got to figure out a way to get your head in the game, because your body will be able to do it. These guys train every day. They practice every day. They're used to doing fairly hard physical activity almost every single day. I'm sure there's breaks, but you got to be on lock for those. Whatever it is that you got to do. Like before I go to work, I have a job where I cannot afford to make mistakes. There's always some form of like breathing exercise or meditation I do to make sure that I am the same way every single day, every time, every tattoo, because you cannot, it's permanent. And that's what I would like to see at the Blue Jackets too. Every single game, every single time, do what it takes to get those back-to-back. Now, I think that there might be less back-to-back games this year.
Mm-hmm.
I know for a fact that there's one in December. December, there's like a Sunday-Monday duo game. It's going to be weird for our podcast, but it's all right. We'll make it work. We'll just do it Sunday after the game. Yeah, 210 in the second half of back-to-backs. That's not good. Hopefully the scheduling helps out with that this year a bit. The multiple game losing streaks, I just, we get everyone healthy in there. I don't foresee that happening as much. There'll be a string of games here and there, but 6-game losing streaks is rough.
Mm-hmm.
So to sum it all up, the confidence is growing from the team. I like to see it. But there's the 5-on-5 game is great. It's everything else that needs to be looked at and criticized, or like critically thought about, whatever. Just sounds so cliche and stupid. Gotta be better. Gotta be better. And I believe, personally, I do think that there will be. I'm said it a million times. I'm excited for this next season. Can't wait to see what they can do. Yeah, that's what I got, other than what we're going to talk about next. So take it away.
Oop, another way. Okay. So what were the Blue Jackets good at this past season? And something I do believe that they can continue this is that scoring goals. The Blue Jackets were really good at scoring goals. One of the best teams in the NHL when it comes to scoring. Their home. We talked about how their road power play was awful and lost them games. It was the exact opposite at home. Their home power play was awesome. It was 26.6%. And it played a big reason why the Blue Jackets won games at home, because their home power play was really good. And I do believe that, yeah, that can absolutely continue, that they could still have a good home power play. Maybe not that high. There may be some regression, maybe down a little bit lower. It may be maybe it goes up. You don't know, but I do think that they're going to have a good home power play. The Blue Jackets also set a record for most goals in Blue Jackets history with 267. They were top 10 in scoring in the NHL, number 8 to be exact. They were one of the best teams on 5-on-5 scoring in the NHL. The Blue Jackets were good at home. 26 of their 40 wins were at home. The Blue Jackets were good in shootouts. They were 5-1 in shootouts. Elvis Merzlikins, ridiculously good in the shootout, 5-0 in the shootout, did not lose in the shootout, so that was good. The Blue Jackets scored 6 goals 15 times. Ridiculously good. It's just
that's insane. That's
yeah,
a legitimately insane fucking stat.
God, it was ridiculously good, and there would just be times where the Blue Jackets would smoke that ass and just destroy them. And like they'd score 6 goals and it'd be like, all right, it's going to be one of those days, I guess. All right, cool.
It's 90 goals and
it's crazy. And like, the 6 goals, it would just kind of be evenly spread out. And, sometimes it just happened and be like, okay, well, it's going to be one of those days where the Blue Jackets score 6 goals. And, that's just how it is. And
will the other team also score 6? We don't know.
we don't know.
Sorry, this is what the list they were good at.
Sorry. But no, it was like, they scored 6 goals 15 times. And sometimes it's like, well, okay, well, it's just one of those days where the Blue Jackets are going to score 6 goals, just ridiculously good. And if you look on why you think their offense was just so good, is that Dean Evason put a really emphasis on just being aggressive with the puck. If you were in the offensive zone, be aggressive with it and get the puck on net. And then as soon as you get it on net, if you don't score, work your ass off and go get the puck again. And then put it on net again until you score. And just outwork the other opponent, out hustle them. Aggressive, physicality, grind it out, put pucks on net. And it worked because the Blue Jackets got a lot of goals that way. And then the fact is that you had guys just have really good seasons. Zach Werenski as a defenseman, 23 goals. Kent Johnson, 24 goals. Matthew Olivier did way better than expected, 18 goals. Kirill Marchenko, 31 goals. Adam Fantilli, 31 goals. Sean Monahan probably would have had at least 20, 25 if he didn't get hurt, but still 19 goals, still pretty good. If Boone Jenner doesn't miss a good chunk of the season, that's probably another 20, 25 goals. The Blue Jackets were good at scoring goals. And if you just improve on the road power play, that just makes your offense even better. So I do think that they can continue this trend at being good on offense and good at scoring goals, that they can build on this. It's just a matter of, what do you do next? What does it look like this upcoming season? How do you build on that? All the good goal scoring ability that you did this past season, all the positive momentum that you built, how do you build on that? And where do you go from here? How do you continue all the good offensive ability and scoring goals?
Yeah, that's really going to come down to, we saw these players making huge moves this year. Obviously, Zach Werenski having a record year for himself. Sean Monahan, had he played the full 82 games, would have been very likely the top on the team in points. So I think what it's going to come down to is getting that coaching right, getting those lines right, because there's plenty of players out there who shouldn't be and almost can't be moved down to have someone coming up. There are some players out there who could move up, who can fill in, who could be up off the monsters for quite a while this year. We'll have to wait and see, obviously, because injuries and stuff like that happen. So, what were the Jackets good at? Kevin pretty much has it nailed on the head here. And I mentioned this in the last list. Really good 5-on-5, fantastic 5-on-5. If they can keep it that way as much as possible, then all the better. Stay out of the penalty box, and you'll be fine. Or improve the penalty kill really well, or just make sure you're not taking dumb penalties. Because that happens sometimes too. And there's a certain player who I thought I seen a little bit guilty of this sometimes, and it's whatever. But Severson took a couple dumb penalties last year. And I really think the way that coaching is now, I don't think that he's going to let him just slide. I think that's going to be brought up. Sorry, I should concentrate on what they're good at, not trying to rip on anyone here too hard. Most goals in Blue Jackets history, but they also had some of the most goals against as well. But besides the point, shootouts, fantastic. I can't wait to see. Well, I hate shootouts, but when they do happen, Merzlikins was great. His concentration, and that is after playing a full 90 minutes, a full game, and he's still able to be that guy. He is that guy. And you can complain about him all you want. You can look at his stats from the last few years and be like, this guy sucks. He's horrible. Look at the defensive stats too and compare those around the league, and you'll get the full picture. Elvis Merzlikins is good, and the fact that there is another goalie that could be a starter, quote unquote, for the audio listeners. You didn't see me do the air quotes, but could be a starter is all the better for the Blue Jackets. That means that the goaltending is on lockdown. It should be better. The defense should be better. Everything should be better. Should be does not always translate to will be. Keeping in mind, with all those goals they scored, the league was on alert last year. They weren't able to surprise anybody. By the end of the season, they were not surprising anybody.
Nope.
Everybody they were like, oh, okay, we have to play everything we have against this team every time. There's no coasting through a game.
Right.
So the power plays at home, fantastic. Shootout's great. These are all fantastic things. 5-on-5 is probably one of the most important things in hockey. But if you're going to give up goals on the penalty kill, it's worthless. So I see some of these things possibly even improving this year. I don't see the power play getting much worse. I can only hopefully see that getting better. I think I felt like the Blue Jackets, I might just be, this is a feeling, not actually a fact. I don't actually know. The Blue Jackets gave up more shorthanded goals last year than they had in a minute too, because they were playing a really high pressure, really up close to the their offensive zone and the net, and I think it got the better of them. And that's part of what I brought up with the last time about them getting beat and the defensive just being just beat flat out. Yeah, that's about all I got. Other than they were good at making sure you had a good time at games. This is not the players, not the coaching. This is the organization itself. I had a great time last year at every game I went to. And most of the games, I think I went to most of the games as media last year. But they were phenomenal organization to work next to. They always were so nice and great behind the scenes and everything. Can't say enough of how awesome they were. So, yeah.
And why being good and being good on offense as they were this past season, why that also matters is that, shootouts don't happen a lot, but they do happen. And when you do get there, this is a now or never moment. You need to get this done. You need to win this. And you need a big goal. You need to score. It needs to happen. And when you were as good as you were on offense, like the Blue Jackets were, it was basically guaranteed dub, guaranteed win. You're playing with house money that, yeah, you were going to win this because you were that good on offense. It gave you an advantage in the shootout, knowing that, yeah, you were going to win this because more likely than not, you were going to win this because you're good on offense. You can score goals when you need to score goals. So when you're good on offense, it also gives you another advantage in the shootout, which is, that's a big reason why they were good in the shootout, but also Elvis Merzlikins outstanding in the shootout. When you need someone to make a big save to keep you in the game, that was him in the shootout. So so being good on offense is good for many reasons, but also in the shootout when you need to score a goal here and to win this, to help you win the game, when you're good at scoring goals, that gives you a much better chance of winning, and it does give you an advantage over some teams who are perhaps not as good as scoring goals. So that when that you can count on guys to score goals, get the job done, and win. And I do believe that's going to continue as well in the event that they get the shootouts sometime during the season, that this momentum that they built during that will continue, in my opinion. Just so much positive momentum that they built this past season, offensively and defensively, and just be interesting to see how this goes. Now, so the next thing I'd like to share in regards to the season preview is this. This is some challenges that the Blue Jackets are going to have to face. Is that last season, some team, 9 times out of 10, if a team was playing them, they didn't think that they were going to do any good. They were probably thinking, now, any game any game in the NHL is a tough game, tough matchup. Anyone can beat anyone on any given night, but there are some teams that are going to be a little bit easier that perhaps maybe you take for granted. You shouldn't do that, but you do it anyways. And the Blue Jackets were in that category of teams that probably took for granted that you shouldn't have, but you did it anyway. And so because of that, I think that's what, kind of caught them off guard. And that is a reason, in my opinion. There are many reasons why, but I think there was one of the reasons why the Blue Jackets would have these games where they'd smoke them, where they'd score 4, 5, 6 goals and just smoke them, just destroy them, because some teams took them for granted. And I don't even mean this in a disrespectful way, but I think some teams felt kind of pity for him and kind of said, oh, Johnny Gaudreau died. I feel sad for you. So maybe you kind of let your guard down a bit than perhaps you should. And then, you didn't do, you shouldn't have done that. And then, you get smoked. The Blue Jackets would put 4, 5, 6 goals on you, and you lose the game. You get smoked, and then you're sitting there wondering, oh, geez, what the heck happened? Well, perhaps you took it a little bit much for granted. Well, that's gone. You can't do that anymore. Teams are going to be expecting more out of you because they see what you just did. They weren't expecting you to do much. They were thinking, oh, this is a team that's going to be like a top 5 draft pick. They're not going to be very good. And that didn't happen. The Blue Jackets did way better than expected. A 23-point improvement. They were fighting for a playoff spot until game 81 of an 82-game season. They just missed the playoffs by 1 game. You win 1 or 2 more games and you're in. You did way better than expected. So now teams are looking at you like they're expecting you to do something more than you have in the past. It's like, we're playing the Blue Jackets here. We better play a pretty good game here. Otherwise, we're going to lose. That's going to be a challenge. Like, how do you handle that now? How do you handle that when teams are expecting you to do good? You can't just go out there and sneak up on them and play your game and just have these games where you smoke them and put like 4, 5, 6 goals on them. That's not going to happen anymore. You can't just sneak up on them like that. Yes, you can have games where you still score the 4, 5, 6 goals, but it's not going to come as a surprise anymore. So that's going to be a challenge. How do you handle that?
Yeah. That's the golden question, because the scoring's not a problem. I don't foresee that being a problem this year. But it's crazy how phenomenal of players they have on defense, and what is exactly the issue. And we can point at an individual time from each player that, like, oh, they let it down. But it's not just the defensive players in the defense. As we all know, you got to play defense no matter where you're at. And the plus minus is not the greatest metric to use of all time, but it is a metric to use, and it is a metric to look at who may or may not have been playing defense hard enough. And looking at some of the guys on here, the worst plus minus last year was a minus 15. That was from Zach Aston Reese. He's a center, so he at least had more points for the year than he did a minus 15. He had 17 points. Jack Johnson had a minus 13. He had 41 games played. That may be in part due to him being on the penalty kill so often, and that being, the shorthanded, them giving up more goals that way. Putia, minus 11. Sillinger, minus 11. Chinakhov, he was a minus 6. He only got to play 30 games, though. Danforth, minus 6. So we're looking at some of these guys. Only one of those guys is a true defenseman, an actual full-on defenseman. And he only got to play 41 games, so he didn't really get much of a chance to redeem himself with that. It's not those individual guys. I never once thought of, Zach Aston Reese is out there flubbing it again because, oh no, they got past him, now there's a goal. I never really thought about that much about Aston Reese. Same with Johnson. I think that what we talked about earlier with him, his position and everything has just been fine. Yeah. He's not signed again for this year, I don't think.
No.
So, he's gonna be 39. More power to him. I hope he gets signed on as like a assistant coach or some shit. That'd be great. I don't know. It looks to be like that third line might be kind of one giving up a lot of the goals sometimes. That would be like Sillinger's line, I believe. With this year it'll have Chinakhov on it for the moment. So I don't know. I don't know what the secret is. I'm not a coach.
No.
But as Brad Larson once said, it's in there. It's in that room. I know it is. The answer's in that room.
Well,
sorry, Brad Larson. You did great. You did what you could, I think.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So next up, what's the next step for Adam Fantilli? This is my next question that I have for the season preview show is what's Adam Fantilli going to do next? Because you look at the season that he had, it was just awesome. So 31 goals, 23 assists for 54 points. He was a +4. He had 2 hat tricks, both in Toronto and New York against the Rangers. Smoked both those teams. Was a big reason why the Blue Jackets won those games. And then he really took off from January until the end of the season.
The context of that is Sean Monahan was playing really good first line center with Dmitry Voronkov and Kirill Marchenko. Even the first couple of games there when it was Yegor Chinakhov, that was a good line too. And Chinakhov had 7 goals in 14 games. Just good line. Monahan playing really good there. Face-offs, defense, penalty killing, offense, power play. It was all good for Sean Monahan. But then in January, he gets hurt. And it's like, at that time, it's like, well, it doesn't look that bad of an injury, but it was that bad. He didn't come back until March. And at that point in time, that was a oh crap moment for the Blue Jackets. Like, uh-oh, you don't have Sean Monahan. What are you going to do? You hope Adam Fantilli's ready for it. And he was. He stepped right into that first line center spot, was awesome. It's like you never missed a beat. It's like, yeah, you don't have Sean Monahan. It sucks, but it's like, well, it's still fine because Adam Fantilli's there and he's playing good. And Sean Monahan comes back. Adam Fantilli goes back down to the second line center spot, and he's awesome. You know, future star in the making. That's where he is right now. That's where he's projected to be. That's his trajectory. That's where he's going. Continues on that path, builds himself up the right way. That's where he's going. Future star in the making. The Blue Jackets were 22-1 when Adam Fantilli scored a goal this past season. So ridiculously good. So other than that one time, more likely than not, 9 times out of 10, if Adam Fantilli scored a goal, you were playing the Blue Jackets, you were losing that game. There is no way around that. So if you were playing the Blue Jackets, you better hope that Adam Fantilli didn't score a goal. Because if he did, 9 times out of 10, you were losing that game. So that was great to see. And another question I have with Adam Fantilli is, at some point in time, he is seen as the guy that could be that first line center guy for the Blue Jackets. When does that happen? Is it this season? Is it next season? When is that going to happen? Because at some point, he is going to get there. He is going to take that first line center spot away from Sean Monahan. It's just a matter of when is that going to happen? Sometime this season? The following season? I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see what he does and when does he get that first line center spot. And then you have a really good season, one of the best seasons that a Blue Jackets player has had in a while. You also did something that only 2 players in Blue Jackets history has been able to do, which is score at least 30 goals in your second season. Rick Nash did it, and Adam Fantilli did it. So if you're doing something that Rick Nash did, that's pretty good. Right there. Means you're doing something right if you're doing something that Rick Nash did. And then how are you going to, you have so much energy and so much positive momentum that you built this past season. How are you going to build on that? What's your next step? What are you going to do this season? Because if you're scoring 31 goals in your second season, when I don't think people were going to be thinking you were going to be that good, and you were, what's next? Are you going to be a guy that can be consistently 30, 40 goals and just play really good? I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. I wouldn't be surprised if he got 35, 40 goals this season the way he's playing. So how are you going to build on the season you had? So much positive energy, so much positive momentum. How are you going to build on that? And what are you going to do this season? Because you are not only an important part of the Blue Jackets now, but also a part of the Blue Jackets' future. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes and what he does this season and how he builds on what he did.
Yeah, well said. It was a bit of a surprise to me this last year. We've mentioned it already too. obviously everyone from that draft class deserves the hype. Absolutely. Connor Bedard, phenomenal. Leo Carlson, amazing. But in that draft class, as amazing as Bedard is, I mean, he had more points, I believe. But Adam Fantilli is the first from his entire draft class to hit that 30-goal mark. And would he have done it last year? We don't know because he didn't get to play in like half the games, right? But it was surprising to me with him not being able to play the half the games. But he got to sit out with the captain for a while. That his first season in the league, he had to sit out with some key guys up in the press box. And I feel like it's not a good thing for him not to be getting ice experience, but maybe a good thing to like really get that mindset down of, oh, this is the NHL. This is stronger, faster. I mean, he came in right away. He came in hot. He's fine. But just getting a bit of the taste and then being able to be more analytical about it since you're not playing, I think will be great for him, especially since he was watching teammates who he's playing with still now because the team has stayed together a lot in the last 2 years. So where did he get better? In my opinion, Adam Fantilli gets better overall. I think if he's on that first line center, he's going to guarantee get more assists. Guaranteed. He had 23 last year. He had 54 points overall. I mean, he was fifth in points on the entire team. He was well above many other players who have many years more experience than he does. I love the stat that he was Blue Jackets were 22-1 when Adam Fantilli scored a goal. Because yeah, that's amazing. I mean, he literally had 31 goals. So some of those games he had 2. I think he had his first hat trick this last year. 2 hat tricks. Insane. I feel like no one else from this draft class also has 2 hat tricks yet. I could check real quick. I'm assuming the only one that would come close was Connor Bedard, since Carlson did not get to play quite as much. How do I spell you know what? I'm just gonna spell Bedard. Why is that so hard? I don't know, let's see how many games played, 3 Star Wars awards. Do you have any?
No.
Hat tricks. Well, I'll be able to... Sorry for the hold up here. I'll get this in just a second. Hat tricks. No hat tricks last year for him.
No.
At all.
No.
Only 2 people who had ones for Chicago were Jason Dickinson and Colin Blackwell. So,
no.
Adam Fantilli's the GOAT.
Yes.
You may not have gone first, but you'll see. You will guaranteed see this year. I had some other things too.
So
are you done with this? Do you want to talk about the opening lineup real quick, or the roster? I should say.
I have 2 more players questions
Sweet.
I want to talk about.
Cool beans. That'll be the last thing then. Or we got hockey jerseys.
Yeah, we got hockey jersey concepts too. So next question. What happens with Zach Werenski? Because he had a really good season, the best season that he's ever had in his career with the Blue Jackets. 23 goals, 59 assists for 82 points. He was a plus 12, played really good, represented the Blue Jackets at the Four Nations Hockey Tournament, played awesome. He set a new record for most goals by a defenseman in Blue Jackets history with 23. Also, he tied Artemi Panarin for second place for most points in Blue Jackets history with 82 for a defenseman. That's really good. I know in today's game it's more common that you see defensemen score more goals. It does happen. But even if you put that off to the side, they are still defensemen. You are not necessarily counting on your defensemen to score goals. You're counting on your defenseman to play defense and help keep the puck out of the net. So if you get a defenseman that gives you a goal or two there every so often, that's an extra added bonus. So to get 23 goals out of defenseman is really good. To get 59 assists out of a defenseman is really good. To get 82 points out of a defenseman is really good. Extra added bonus. So it's not just that he had a really good season, but this is where the moment where he really shined, where people from the outside world really started paying attention to him. Oh, God, look at Zach Werenski. He's playing awesome. Do you see what the Blue Jackets are doing? Yeah, they're playing good. Or did you see what Zach Werenski's doing for the Blue Jackets? Yeah, man, he's playing awesome. Oh, he played awesome at the Four Nations Hockey Tournament. He did this. He did that. Playing good for the Blue Jackets. The whole hockey world was focusing in on Zach Werenski, and he was awesome. Zach Werenski also finished second in Norris Trophy voting behind Cale Makar. Ridiculously good. And now it's, to a certain degree, it's almost unfair to Zach Werenski to expect him to do what he just did again. Because, again, defenseman, you're not exactly expecting your defenseman to be that good offensively. You're expecting your defenseman to play defense, help keep the puck out of the net. So I wouldn't be surprised if, from an offensive standpoint, if he didn't have as good of a season, because it happens. You're a defenseman. You play defense first. Any other extra offense is an extra added bonus. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if he had an even better season than what he just had. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. And it's like, what do you do now? The season that you just had, how do you build on that? So much positive energy and so much positive momentum that you built this past season. What's your next step? What do you do next season? How do you build on all the success that you had this past season? Just going to be interesting to see how that goes, and how does he build on the success that he had this past season?
Yeah, you're right. It's a tough ask to have him do that exact same thing again, especially if you consider were Monahan out on the ice, some of those goals he would have been getting, and Zach Werenski may have gotten more assists that way then too, probably similar points total. But Monahan was just beasting in beast mode. He absolutely was. It was a shame that he had to be sit out so many games. But I think that was. It sounds ridiculous, but yeah, like if I I play video games with my friends sometimes, play like a first-person shooter like Counter-Strike, and like I'm there getting like almost no kills because someone on my team is getting 50. I don't even have time to see them. I don't even have the chance to get the goal because they're doing so well. And we might see that a little bit more this year too, especially with how the lines are. Adam Fantilli taking a lot of those shots, a lot of those goals. Monahan taking some of those goals too. And the other thing is, every single team out there, they've already I guarantee they already had a plan in place, and I already talked about Zach Werenski before every game. Every team has to bring him up even before last season, but they're going to be guaranteed looking at tape of him from last season. Guaranteed. Because he was such a vital part to the team. There was a few times, and you don't see this from a defenseman hardly ever. There's a few times where he just put the team on his back and went and was successful. It doesn't, like you don't want necessarily a defenseman to have to be in that role. That's something that we used to see Johnny Gaudreau do. He'd be like, all right, fine, I'll do it myself, and he'd just get there and get it done.
Right.
And I think that we see that sometimes out of Adam Fantilli, and I think we're going to see that more. I know we're talking about Zach Werenski right now, but the season he had was insane. Now, to be fair, we talked about this a bit last week about how his numbers have been steadily going up and up and up, very steady, even as the team's done shit. So maybe that's part of it. Maybe the rest of the team is not keeping up with Zach, but now that they're able to keep up with him and maybe even push past him, maybe he'll be able to unload some of the weight off his shoulders a bit more. And I don't foresee him taking the backseat. I don't foresee him taking a relaxed approach or anything like that. I think he's going to attack it just as much as he did last season. But I'm just hoping to see the other players to do the same thing and to not really just heavily rely just on Zach Werenski.
Yeah. So, so next up, I'm going to put this up on the screen. This is just the final player that I'm going to pick. There's so many players we could talk about, so many questions on how things are going to go. But this is just one player I'm gonna pick, and that is this. So I'm gonna put this up on the screen. So Kirill Marchenko, a really good season. 31 goals, 43 assists, 74 points. He was a plus 29. Ridiculously good. Just ridiculously good. You look at the trajectory of Kirill Marchenko in his 3 seasons, he keeps going up, 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 up. First, he scored 21 goals, which set a new record for most goals in Blue Jackets history for a rookie. Then he followed that up by getting 23 goals. And now he followed that one up with 31 goals. Just ridiculously good. So again, we've said this time and time again during the show, but so much positive energy and so much momentum was built this past season by the Blue Jackets, and that includes Kirill Marchenko. Like Adam Fantilli, I don't think people were thinking that he was going to be that good, but he was that good. So what next? What do you do now? How do you build on all the success and the positive energy and positive momentum that you built on this past season? What's your next step? What do you do next? Are you the type of guy that's going to score 30, 40 goals a season? Certainly looks that way. Are you going to be the guy that's going to score, 30, 40 goals? Maybe you get 35, 40 this season, just the way that you're playing and the way that you can score goals. Also, that line of Sean Monahan and Dmitry Voronkov and Kirill Marchenko was so good. One of the best lines that, not just for the Blue Jackets, but in hockey, it was the best lines from an analytics standpoint too. That involves Kirill Marchenko. It's like, okay, how is that going to go? Is that going to continue like what it was this past season? Is that going to continue to be good? And if it does, then that's going to benefit Kirill Marchenko. Or is it going to be even better because you're a full year older, you're more mature, bigger, faster, stronger. You have a better understanding on what it's like to play in the NHL. You have a better understanding of what's going on. So how are you going to build on all this positive energy and momentum that you built on? How are you going to build on the just awesome season that you just had? Kirill Marchenko also had a hat trick against Nashville. Ridiculously good. So it's going to be interesting to see how this goes and what Kirill Marchenko does for this upcoming season and how he builds on all the positive energy and momentum that he built up this past season, which was really good.
Yeah, fantastic. Because, much like another famous Kirill, this guy came into the league a little bit older, and he came in hot, and I could eventually see this Kirill Marchenko, not Kaprizov, also landing a fat contract.
Yeah.
I don't know why he wouldn't. He's only 24. I actually don't have Puckpedia pulled up at the moment. Hockeypedia. But he's got a very good contract for his skill. like I think that he is right now being underpaid quite a bit. Being second on points on the team, obviously points aren't always going to reflect what you're doing on the ice, and what you're getting paid to do on the ice. But yeah, he got signed like a year or two ago. So this year and next year he'll be making 3.85, and he'll be an RFA in 2027, 28. So looking for him to have another huge year. Same with Dmitry Voronkov. I mean, I know we're talking about Marchenko, but it's hard to talk about one and not the other. But we're getting kind of short on time. I'll make this short and sweet for you. Marchenko, absolute beast. Can't wait to see him again. Tied for most goals on the team with Adam Fantilli. I cannot wait to see this contest between those two. Who's going to get the most goals? Who is it going to be? Because right now, I want to say Marchenko just because he has a slight bit more experience and a slight bit more. He's just a bit older, but it's probably going to be one of those two. Actually, Sean Monahan, you have to talk about him. He's missed so many games last season. He would be in that conversation too. But team-friendly contract at the moment. Big fan of Marchenko. Looking to see him improve once again soon.
So we'll wrap it up this way. How, when the season's all done and over with, how do you think it's going to go?
So when everything's said and done, it was so close last year that with the goal in mind from the beginning of the season, playoff berth is, I'm going to give it like an 85% chance of happening. It's just off my dome. I'm just making up a number for no good reason. I don't mind sports betting that much, but like, don't take anything we ever say and then try to use it for some shit like that, because I'm just making it up. Just bullshit. 85% chance, in my opinion, of making the playoffs. I think that there is a non-zero chance of winning the division. That will take a lot of work, especially going up against, the New York Rangers and the Devils. And if the Caps have any sort of similar year as they did last year, that's going to be a rough one to do as well. But possible. So they got 89 points last season. That was more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that was more than 12 teams in the NHL. I'm gonna say they're gonna end up 97 points. Second in the division, 5th or 6th in the conference, and they're gonna make the playoffs. And I honestly, I don't have like a prediction for after that at all, because like obviously I want to say, oh, they're gonna win a Stanley Cup, but like I don't know. I have the hope, sure, but like as long as they make it, like I'll be very impressed from how far this team has gone in a short amount of time. Yeah, that's my 97 points.
So for me personally, I want playoffs. That's what my expectation is. That's what I'm hoping for, and that's what I think is probably going to happen. The reason is because you look at, they did way better than expected this past season. They weren't expected to be very good. Instead, they're thinking, oh, that's going to be like a top 5 pick. Well, that didn't happen. And instead, you did way better than expected. You had a 23-point improvement, and 89 points, way better than expected, and you just miss out on the playoffs. And if you look at the interviews that the Blue Jackets players and just anyone within the Blue Jackets organization had as the season ended. The comments were basically this. We don't like we didn't make the playoffs. We don't like that. That was disappointing. But at the same time, we're proud of what we did. We did way better than expected, and we're going to build on that. And excited to see where this goes. And that whole mindset of, we're disappointed that we missed the playoffs, but we did way better than expected, and we liked all the positive momentum all the positive momentum that we did and all we built up on that season. We did way better than expected. We like that. And that whole mindset continued throughout the entire off season. Anytime people would talk about the Blue Jackets, that's basically what they'd say. They did, it sucks they missed the playoffs, but they did way better than expected. Good season, way better, so much positive momentum, energy that they built during that season. And then anytime like a Blue Jackets player would get interviewed in the Columbus media all off season long, they would have that similar mindset. We did better, it sucks that we missed the playoffs, but we did way better than expected, and we're proud of what we did this past season. Now build on that. And going into training camp and preseason, when meeting with the Columbus media, you listen to people from the Blue Jackets organization talk. It's the same exact thing. We're disappointed that we made the playoffs, but we like what we did. We're proud of what we did this past season. We did way better than expected. So much positive energy and momentum that we built on, and we're going to build on that, and we're going to make the playoffs. It's playoffs. That's what we want. And I love that. That is the correct mindset to have going into this season. You can say, it's disappointing that we didn't make the playoffs, but also be proud of what you did this past season. So much positive energy and momentum that you built this past season, did way better than expected. Now, build on that. Build on that more and do better. More positive energy, more positive momentum. Build on that and be like one of those teams that, like you were competitive, night in, night out, good, fighting for a playoff spot. The difference is you this time get into the playoffs. This time. That's what it has to be. And the Blue Jackets, as an organization, whether it be players, coaches, GM, whatever, that's the mindset that they have going into this season. Proud of what we did this past season. Disappointed that we missed the playoffs, but we did way better than expected. And we're going to do better. We're going to build on that, and we're going to make the playoffs. That's the mindset that they've had all off season long. And going into this season, they have that same mindset. And I like that. And that's what it has to be. You have to have that mindset. And where I'm at is build on all the positive momentum and energy that you just had this past season and get your butt in the playoffs now. Because hockey, compared to other sports, is once you get into the playoffs, anything can happen. Win and get in. Anything can happen. Perfect example of this for the Blue Jackets is that when they got in the playoffs in 2019, you're playing the Tampa Bay Lightning. They had 62 wins, 128 points. A lot of people thinking, we're picking the Lightning, thinking that the Lightning were going to beat the Blue Jackets. Bad. But it didn't happen. The Blue Jackets smoked that ass and destroyed them, swept them. The following year, they make the playoffs again. They play Toronto, and most people, and a lot of people were picking Toronto to win that series. That didn't happen. The Blue Jackets won that series too. We're thinking of our Philadelphia friend Hartsey. In 2010, the Flyers make the playoffs on the last day of the season by winning in a shootout. They make a run to the Stanley Cup final. The Kings made the playoffs as an 8 seed. They win the Stanley Cup. The Panthers, last 3 seasons, they've been in the Stanley Cup, won 2 of them. Montreal Canadiens, no one thinking they're going to be very good. They just squeak into the playoffs, and then they make a run to the Stanley Cup, final in 2021. So win and get in. You don't know what's going to happen. If you get into the playoffs in hockey, anything can happen, and that's what it should be. That should be the goal. Build on what you did this past season, continue that positive energy and positive momentum, and get into the playoffs and see how far you can go. And
Speaking of our friend Hartsey, he left a comment here. Says, Young Beezer, potential playoff run for CBJ, a million question marks, maybe.
yeah,
Sorry, I didn't see your comment for the last half hour. My bad.
Yeah. No, that is a possibility. It could happen. You just got to get in, and they do have the talent to get in. You just got to do it. So next up, we'll get to the roster that the Blue Jackets revealed for the season.
You know what? I had that up, but let me see if I. There we go. I'll share it real quick, just because. We'll talk about this fairly quick, and then we'll
hockey jerseys, and then we'll get out of here.
Yeah, we'll go through some quick ratings. Let me get this up here. Okay, doke. So the 2020 Blue Jackets' first game of 2025-2026 NHL season, the roster has been set in stone for the first game. Currently, it's set. These are all arranged by numerical order, going from smallest number to largest number, separated by forwards, defensemen, and goaltenders. So it's not going to be alphabetical. It might sound kind of weird. Forwards, we got Charlie Coyle, Cole Sillinger, Dmitry Voronkov, Miles Wood, Adam Fantilli, Isaac Lundestrom, Sean Monahan, Matthew Olivier, Zach Aston Reese, Boone Jenner, Igor Chinikov, Kirill Marchenko, and Kent Johnson. For defense, we got Jake Christensen. We have Denton Mateychuk, seeing him up on the big team. Zach Werenski, Ivan Provorov, Dante Fabro, Eric Goodbranson, and Damon Severson. Is it Severson? I say it different. Almost every single time I say it slightly different. And for the goaltenders, as we talked about, we have Jet Greaves and Elvis Merzlikins. So a couple new faces here to keep an eye out for. That's Charlie Coyle is one, Miles Woods one, Isaac Lundestrom. Pretty much every other forward is pretty was there last year. For defense, there's no brand new faces, but keep an eye out for Denton Mateychuk and see what he can do, especially at the beginning of this year. He has made a huge effort to try to make the team because he's had to. But I think we'll see him most in the NHL. Now, keep in mind, this is the roster. This is not who's going to be playing that night. You'll see some scratches, some healthy scratches. There's usually at least 3. I don't know if they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. I might have miscounted that, but there will be at least 2 guys sitting now, if not 3. I think it's 3 right now. So, any surprises here? Anyone you're excited to see, Kevin?
Nah, they're really not really any surprises. Something like this was expected if you've been paying attention to the Columbus media on Twitter and just other articles from the Columbus media in general. You would have known that this was a possibility, and more likely than not, something like this was going to happen. I guess if you had to pick a guy, we've already picked Adam Fantilli, Zach Werenski, Kirill Marchenko, and so on and so forth. But if you had to pick a guy, someone not named them, I just have to wonder what's going to happen with their new pickups that they got in the offseason. What's going to happen with Charlie Coyle? What's going to happen with Isaac Lundestrom? What's going to happen with Miles Wood? There wasn't, going back to, we said, well, what are the Blue Jackets? What were they bad at? What were they good at? Something that Don Waddell felt like that the Blue Jackets needed to get better at is improve their third and fourth line. Because it was kind of a mishmash of just different players. They just stick together, and sometimes it didn't work, and sometimes it did. but you need more consistency there. And getting a guy like a Charlie Coyle, who's shown he can be a versatile guy, can play center, wing, up and down the lineup, but where he really shines is a good third line, fourth line guy. He's going to help with that, make that third line, fourth line be better. It's the same thing with Miles Wood. Versatile guy, can play up and down the lineup. Good third line, fourth line guy. He's going to help with that. And then Isaac Lundestrom. What's he going to do? He is seen as definitely one of the better fourth line players in the NHL. He's seen as one of the better defensive players. Good at faceoffs, penalty killing, so on and so forth. So interesting to see how that goes, because that was one of the big moves the Blue Jackets did this offseason, is getting more center depth and a guy who's good defensively, win faceoffs, penalty killing, big, physical. So I guess that's what I would say is, what's it going to look like? What does this team look like with contributions from their new guys that they got in the offseason? Charlie Coyle, Miles Wood, and Isaac Lundestrom. And then one last thing for me is Denton Mateychuk. This is going to be your first full season with the Blue Jackets. You started out the last season down in Cleveland. You could have made the case he could have started with the Blue Jackets. He had a really good training camp, real good preseason. He could have made the team out of training camp. But in the end, the Blue Jackets made the decision not to do that. And he benefited from that. He got to go play down in Cleveland, play first line, second line minutes. He played really good down there, cooked, and then he got called up to play for the Blue Jackets, and he never got sent back down, to Cleveland for the rest of the season. Played really good, especially first line, second line minutes. So it's like, what do you do now? How do you build on that? What are you going to do with your first full season with the Blue Jackets? And then another thing that's underrated is that a big reason why the defense wasn't as good, had some issues, because it doesn't help the fact that there were games where you didn't have a Jake Christensen, or you didn't have a Dante Fabro. You didn't have a Damon Severson. They missed games. That does make a difference, strategically, and just a cohesion. It's just better if you can have all your guys healthy and not missing games, and just build chemistry over time, and your defense is going to be better because of that. So what's this defense going to look like when you have a full season of, everyone playing and not people missing games as well? So that's definitely going to make a difference as well.
Yeah, for sure. Just having everyone around the whole time. You're not messing as much with the chemistry and whatnot. But yeah.
All right. So next up, one of our final things of today's show that we're going to do is hockey jersey concepts, like we always do, because we like to have fun with that sort of thing. So we have 3 of them today. So first up, I'm going to put this up on the screen. So this is from Saturn Styles _. So essentially, this is his take on the jersey that the Blue Jackets wore from 2003 to 2007, and essentially changes the black shoulders to red. And then he gets rid of one of the Kepi logos and just uses the original logo. And overall, I think this is pretty good. But then I kind of feel like it's kind of too much red for my liking. Needs a little bit more blue, because Blue Jackets. But overall, this is, pretty good. I like this.
Yeah, I agree with you about the red. Now, if this would have been the Blue Jackets reverse retro instead of that one that was like all red or whatever, yeah, I would have been much more happy with it.
Yes.
As it is, I would not be clamoring to buy this one.
No.
But I don't hate it.
No.
I would wear it if someone gave it to me.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I like that they put Rick Nash's number on there too. But for this one personally, I think that this deserves a solid 7 out of 10, 6.5. 6.5. Like, I like it, but I don't love it, but it's solid. Like,
Yeah.
if that's what it was, I wouldn't be I would give it a 7 if it had different shoulder patches.
Yeah.
I understand it's like the original like CBJ logo with the hockey stick and all that, but I've never been the greatest fan of that logo, so that's all. It's just an aesthetics thing.
No. On to the next one. So this one I like. So you got a blue jersey, uses the Blue Jackets dark blue, and then the numbers are white numbers outlined in red collar. The striping is like silver, then red, then white, then red, then white, then red. It's also on the bottom of the jersey. Also from Saturn Styles _, who does the style in a Nike jersey because it's got the Nike swoosh, and then the shoulder patch Canon logos on the front, and then the regular logo as the shoulder patches. Overall, I like this.
I'm a big fan, and let me tell you what, the stripes on the elbows and the waist, with it having silver next to it, this feels like a little nod to Ohio State too, because it's got because the red is almost more of the scarlet red. It's not maybe quite as bright as the last one. Not saying that it is, but just saying that it's a slight subtle knob. I feel like there's one too many stripes on the waist and the sleeves, but other than that, I would buy this one. I would probably give this 7 out of 10. I'm keeping my ratings a little lower this time. This week.
Okay, one last jersey. Well, hang on a second. Is there another one? Let's see here. Oh, there's a white one. So this one's pretty cool too. So white jersey takes the shoulder patch Canon as the main logo, blue numbers outlined in red, and then it's silver. The striping is silver, blue, red, blue, silver. It's also like that on the bottom. A red collar, blue Nike logo, and the shoulder patches are the main logo. So I like this one too.
Big fan of this one. In fact, I like this one better than the home jersey I just saw quite a bit. This does not feel like any sort of nod to Ohio State at all in this, which is nice. Not that I think it would be a bad thing, just not my taste. It's a non-professional sports team. It's just a college. But I would buy this one 100%. I gotta give it 8.5 out of 10. I like it a lot.
All right, then. So that's that. All right. One last jersey concept for the day. So this one is uses the Blue Jackets dark blue. The regular logo is the logo. The captain's patch, it's a Boone Jenner jersey. So captain's patch is white letter outlined in red. And then the numbers are white numbers outlined in red. And then where it says Boone Jenner's name, it's white letters, like a little chevrons on it, a little white and a little red. There's little stars on the sleeve. The collar is red and then a little white, and then it's the Canon shoulder patch logo on the Canon. And nice touch, it has the Safe Light ad like the Blue Jackets normally do. So I like this. Good logo. Good jersey.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this one too. I like that they threw in a red star in the bottom where they have normally it's just like the white star or white stars. They threw in one in the middle there like that. Striping on the sides, I can dig it. This one's really solid. I would definitely buy this one. My least favorite part of it is the right around the waist, but I truly think that with the shorts, that would look really nice because sometimes you get that thing where it almost looks like the shorts kind of run into the jersey. It's just all like the same color going up, and there's nothing like separating the waist from it. So this one, I'm gonna give it even a little bit higher than last one. This one, 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's not a 9. Like that's pretty overall. I like everything about it a lot. Oh, what would make it a 10 for me is if they use the Canon logo as the main patch. That's it.
Yeah. All right. Next up, the away jersey. So it's white and the main logo, captain's patch is blue outlined in red, and the numbers are blue outlined in red. And Boone Jenner, where it says Jenner, it's blue letters. We got blue shoulders outlined in red, and then in a little red stripe around the collar, Canon shoulder patch logo. What kind of looks like chevrons here, and then the stars, blue star, blue star, red stripe, blue stripe, and the main, again, nice touch with the Safelite logo, and it's got the main logo on the front. So overall, I like this. This is pretty good too.
Nice little touch with the stitching around where the fight strap would be too on the back.
Yeah.
Right below the numbers. That cracks me up that they don't include that at all. But that's great. I like this one just as much as the last one. There's nothing about this I don't particularly dislike. The only addition that would be great to make it a perfect 10 would be the can logo on the front. But I like the original logo, so this has to stay a 9 for me. Love the sleeves. I love the sleeves a lot. It seems so different than everything else that's out there. The stripes don't go the whole way around the elbows, so it's more of like a chevron rank kind of feel to it. Dig it.
This is from ABSLWRLD on Instagram.
Pretty cool.
So there's that. All right. So one last thing for now, and then we'll talk about our other stuff, and then we'll get out of here. I promised you some mascot shenanigans. We did a stinger, and now I'm going to show you this one. Actually, no. Where is? Okay, this one, right? Well, there's a couple of them. So this is down in Cincinnati for the Bearcats, and their mascot is gonna jump onto a table and break it, and I just think that's just funny. You know, whatever. We're doing it. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna play. We're gonna play. Here it is.
Wow, that was very brave.
Yeah.
Did you see him like almost trip a little bit? Like he jumped up and then like slightly landed on the edge a little bit. I don't know if that was to help slow him down or what, but it almost looked like it toppled him over like head first into it.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I kind of want Stinger to do something like this just for shits and giggles.
I wonder if it's like a helmet inside there.
Yeah. Like,
he got up right away. Like took like no fall damage. Now, I think it might be a pad underneath too, but like still, that's no fall damage like at all.
One last time we're gonna watch. Here we go. And boom. All right. Oh wait, there's more. Oh wait, there's more mascot shenanigans. There is, and what is he wearing? I have no idea what he's wearing. It's like a fuzzball or something.
He's like wearing the pom poms.
Yes.
I think he's wearing like the black and red pom poms. Yeah. How did they get to decide who has the white pom poms and who gets the black and red?
Yeah.
Is that like the seniors or something? I'm talking about the cheerleaders right now holding them. Huh. That's creepy for shit, dude.
There's that. I think there's one more. Is there? Let's see. Oh, you know what? Screw it. More dancing. Look at it. There it is.
He's got the same like pom pom kind of outfit on.
he's just dancing. Oh, that's great. That's just funny. uh, they're shaking that butt, you know. One more time. One more time.
Uh,
Oh, that's great. That's great. Okay, so two last couple of things for me. Well, three, and then we'll get out. You share stuff, then we can get out of here. So I did just a silly little meme, you know, and apparently it took off well. It did well, and some people, you know, didn't know that this was not real. So I just made I made a Photoshop of Ryan Day at a press. Well, so this is a real picture of Ryan Day at a press conference talking to the Columbus media, and I photoshopped it where. So originally, obviously, he's in the talking to the Columbus media, and there's Ohio State stuff in the background. Well, I pulled out my iPad and played around in like a Photoshop app and made it look like that he's supporting the Blue Jackets, so instead of a Ohio State background, it's now a Blue Jackets background. And instead of his jacket having an Ohio State logo, his jacket now has a Blue Jackets logo. And then the microphone he's talking into had an Ohio State logo. Well, now it has a Blue Jackets logo on the microphone, and I just for shits and giggles, I had fun with this. And the caption is shout out to Ryan Day for showing support for the Blue Jackets. And I tagged the Blue Jackets and Ryan Day in the tweet. Now, it did well,
That's not making the rounds.
It is fifth. Like 15 retweet, I want to say like 2 quote tweets and 13 retweets, 191 likes, 4 comments, and over 10,000 views. Like, cool. Thanks for the support, people. But at the same time, I think most of you fell for this. I think most of you thought this was real. And like, come on now, people. This is not real. This is a Photoshop. Like, to my
all
knowledge,
you would have to do is look at it for more than a second and be like, okay, the lighting does not match.
Yeah.
That is hilarious how many people thought.
Yes. Like, to my knowledge, Ryan Day has not publicly shown support for the Blue Jackets. Would it be cool if he did? Yes. But to my knowledge, Ryan Day has not publicly shown support for the Blue Jackets. So I'm just having, for shits and giggles, for a silly meme, I'm having fun with it. This is not real. As cool as it'd be, as cool as it would be, it's not real. And yet, the response to some of this, people thought this was real, and I'm like, come on now, people, like, this is not real. Come on now, you're smarter than that. Come on now, this is a Photoshop. This is not real. So. Thanks for the support, but for many of you, you fell for it because you thought this was real.
Some funny shit.
But anyways, that is besides the point. So, I have something else, but we can. Oh, one more thing, just for, So, 97.1 The Fan back in August of 2025 posted a tweet. It was a poll, which today's fan poll at 97.1thefan.com, which Michigan man, in quotes, do you dislike the most? Jim Harbaugh, who coached at Michigan, Dave Portnoy, pizza review guy, big Michigan guy, Desmond Howard, who played football at Michigan and now is a college football analyst for ESPN, does stuff on College Game Day, and I think he does a good job. Some people don't think that, but that's okay. Now, I responded to that and shoved that right back in their face with this. Hey, at 97.1 The Fan, which Michigan man do you like the most? A, Adam Fantilli. B, Kent Johnson. C, Zach Werenski. Interested in what you have to say. And of course, it is a picture of the Blue Jackets Michigan alumni. Kent Johnson, Zach Werenski, Adam Fantilli. So, 97.1 The Fan. You're going to do the whole Michigan bad thing, which I get it. I like Ohio State. I don't like Michigan. But you know what? I'm going to have some fun with it too, and I'm going to throw it right back in your face. You're going to you're going to have fun with the whole anti-Michigan thing. Okay, I'm going to flip that and throw it back in your face and say, hey, which Michigan man do you like the most? Adam Fantilli, Ken Johnson, or Zach Werenski? Because those are the Blue Jackets Michigan guys. No response from 97.1 The Fan, so we'll never know what the answer to that question is.
Shit.
But, hey, we'll never, but, just wondering, 97.1 The Fan, which, Michigan man from the Blue Jackets do you like the most? Zach, is it Adam Fantilli? Is it Kent Johnson? Or is it Zach Werenski?
The world is waiting.
Yeah, the world's waiting. We're waiting for an answer. Well, which do you like? Adam Fantilli, Kent Johnson, Zach Werenski. Who's your favorite? Who do you like the most? Anyways, so that's the end of that for now. Or Sir Boy Wonder 513 says hashtag fire Kinner, and I have no idea what that says. Whatever.
Yeah. That's why I didn't bring it up earlier. Sorry. So was that Soy Boy Wonder? Or Sir? Oh,
Sure.
Sorry. Sir Boy Wonder. My bad, brother.
Yeah.
Great picture. Nice hat.
Yeah. Go Reds.
Sorry about that. I really misheard your name.
But, okay, so we're going to say some things and then, we're going to get out of here. So, first things first, you should totally like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That would be greatly appreciated. Please tell your family, please tell your friends, like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That would be greatly appreciated. Like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Do it now.
And as always, got to give a shout out to my awesome Uncle Doc, the best of the best. What a guy. Love talking hockey with you. Love seeing you at family parties and holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter and family birthday parties and so much more. Love talking hockey with you. You're a big Blackhawks guy, but the Blue Jackets became your second favorite team because of me. You became a big Blue Jackets guy as well, and I appreciate that. And I gave you a Blue Jackets hat that you liked wearing very much at your cooking job, and it was a big hit among your fellow cooking co-workers. I said, oh, what's that hat? Oh, it's a Blue Jackets hat. My nephew gave it to me. Hockey, Blue Jackets. Oh, that's cool. That's a cool hat. And I always loved it and got a kick out of it when you tell me that story, that your fellow cooking co-workers at your cooking job loved your Blue Jackets camo hat that I gave you. And you wore it a lot. It was one of your favorite hats. So, anyways, gotta give a shout out to my awesome Uncle Doc, the best of the best. Wish you're still here so I can talk hockey with you. And you could share your thoughts on how you think the Blackhawks are going to do, and I could share my thoughts on how I think the Blue Jackets are going to do. So, shout out to my awesome Uncle Doc. Wish you're still here so I could talk hockey with you. Shout out to my awesome Uncle Doc. Thank you for everything.
Rest in peace, Uncle Doc.
And got to give a shout out to my brother Ryan and his wife Rachel, because the news has come out recently that they're going to have another kid. It'll be kid number 4. And that means I'm going to be an uncle times 4, which is great. And I'm looking forward to it. And
they got so far it's 3 kids, and it's all 3 girls, all my outstanding, wonderful nieces, Harper, Ava, and May. And the news has come out recently that the 4th kid is going to be a boy, which is truly great, truly outstanding, the best of the best. I'm looking forward to that. It's March 2026. The baby boy in the Valentine family is coming, and the boy's name is going to be Titus, which is just, oh God, just such a cool name. Titus, how cool is that? The best of the best, Titus. Such a cool name, and I look forward to
being a birthday.
God, that March is a great month in my family, and we both share our birthday March 12th. Doc, my Uncle Doc, he had a March birthday. My Aunt Karen has a March birthday. My Uncle Kurt has a March birthday. My mom has a March birthday. Hefty Duck and I, March birthday, March 12th, the same day. And now my, future nephew, Titus, will have a March birthday. The best of the best, an outstanding name. I just love it. Looking forward to be a uncle to a nephew, and just eventually taking them to Blue Jackets games and so much more. And I'll do that for my nieces too. I'll take them to Blue Jackets games, but really looking forward to having a nephew, being an uncle to a boy, because being an uncle to my 3 nieces has been awesome, but looking forward to being an uncle to a new nephew, and getting them involved with the Blue Jackets. That is just gonna be great. And one last thing for me, as I always do, check out Union Blue Soldiers March of the Union Army on Monday, October 13th, 2025. R-Bar, 6 o'clock p.m. This is the event that you want to go to before the Blue Jackets home opener. The best of the best. You want to go to this event. Union Blue Soldiers does an outstanding time doing this. Usually get about 50 to 100 people that show up, and it's a great time to be with your fellow Blue Jackets fans. In previous years, we've had Stinger show up, and people who throw the t-shirt in the crowd at Blue Jackets games. And we've had people from the Columbus media show up and put us on TV. So many other fun surprises have happened over the years. You never know what's going to happen when you show up to one of Union Blue Soldiers marches. So, you should absolutely join Union Blue Soldiers. And, I'm going to remove this real sec here, but passing out some new Union Blue Soldiers buttons. Passing out some new Union Blue Soldiers buttons to people who come to the march. It's first come, first serve. It's only 50. So you want one, you got to get here quick. So first 50 people who show up to our march will get one of these cool Union Blue Soldiers buttons. As well as we're passing out some cool flyers right here. So we have flyers, and we got some buttons right here. So, join Union Blue Soldiers as we march on to Nationwide Arena to cheer on the Blue Jackets. One last thing for me is I'm going to play a video from just a different marches that we've done over the years, and I'll get out of here. So, we're going to put this up on the screen. So here we have a video from one of the marches that we've done over the years. Oh, why is it? Oh, come on now. All right. We're going to fix this. We're having technical difficulties here, but we are going to fix this because this is important. So, okay, here we go. So we're going to try this again. Action. All right. So here we go. So, as you can see, here are different videos from different marches that Union Blue Soldiers has had over the years. We've been on TV for, Clay Hall, ABC 6 News. Stinger has showed up. A lot of fun. So, if you're looking for something to do before the Blue Jackets home opener, this is the event to do. So, join Union Blue Soldiers for their annual March of the Union Army on Monday, October 13th, 2025, our bar, 6 o'clock p.m. Join Union Blue Soldiers and your fellow Blue Jackets fans as we march on to Nationwide Arena to cheer on the Blue Jackets. And then one last thing, check out Union Blue Soldiers. Check out Union Blue Soldiers. Check out Union Blue Soldiers on all social media platforms. Check out Union Blue Soldiers and join us for the march on Monday, October 13th, 2025, our bar, 6 o'clock p.m. We are marching on to Nationwide Arena to cheer on the Blue Jackets.
Do it. I too will be there. Come find me. I too will have at least one thing for you, probably two, while supplies last. First come, first serve. Come find us.
Yes. All right.
Well, you know where we'll be at least to start. We'll be in front of our bar,
Yeah.
for the march and whatnot. And then, like I said, I got some cards. Kev's got some buttons. I'll have some buttons. Some Brew Jackets buttons, and it'll be a fun time.
Yes. All right, that's it for me now. Well, Hefty Duck will say his things, and then we can get out of here.
Hell yeah. So, as Kevin said, don't forget to like, subscribe, share wherever you're watching from. If you'd like to listen to us, we do upload directly after the live show every night, and after every episode, not every single night. Anyway, point being, find us on Spotify, Google, wherever you like to listen to podcasts. We are there, and we will continue to be there. Check me out. Check out my tattoo stuff. Like I said, we don't really have any sponsors or anything. We're not like making money off this, but it would be great if you check out our social media, my social media. I'm on TikTok now. I'm on Instagram. It's Lance Schrock Tattoos. There's a period between each word. I make some cool stuff. Check me out. Come get tattooed. Check out my Stinger tattoo I did not that long ago. But once again, this has been an episode of the Brew Jackets. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. You guys make this worthwhile doing. I mean, we do it anyway. We did it for quite a long time with just a couple of viewers. Now we got quite a few more of you on the hook now. So anyway, thank you all very much. We will be back here. Are you able to do one next Sunday?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We'll be back here then. Night before, we'll do a game preview the night before the home opener, not the actual opener of the season, but we will be able to talk about that one, and then we'll be able to talk about the upcoming game. We'll do a couple of reminders of where we're going to be at that day. It's going to be fun. I'm all booked for everything.
Next week's show, we'll be talking about the first two games that the Blue Jackets have played in Nashville and Minnesota, and other Blue Jackets news, and then just, talking a little bit, what's going on with the Blue Jackets at that point in time, and, little home opener stuff as well. So just a lot of stuff going on in the Blue Jackets world that we will be talking about.
Yeah. So we'll see you again next Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Until then, hope you all have a good week.